Hey everybody, it's Scott at the Pedal Guy. How you doing? I got the brand new Hotone Ampero 2 Stomp. I'm so excited to show this to you, and I'm going to take you through it over the next few minutes. But if this is your first visit to my channel, take a second, click on that subscribe button down there, give me a thumbs up, help my video rank in the YouTube algorithm so I can make more content for you. The Ampero 2 Stomp is a huge step forward in the evolution of the Ampero family. There's more processing, there's more amps, there's more effects, there's more of everything. And it sounds really good on electric guitar, acoustic guitar, bass, keys, basically anything you want to put through it. And in this video, I'm going to take you on a tour that's going to highlight the main features of the product. But if you want a more in-depth demonstration of the Ampero, I have a live stream coming up on Friday, November 12th at 2 p.m. Pacific. And in that live stream, you'll be able to ask me questions in real time and I'll answer them. And of course, if you miss it, you can always watch the replay later and get the information that way. And you can also bet there's going to be a whole bunch of follow-up videos to this one. So enough of that, let's get to it. In this part of the video, I'm going to give you a quick overview of the top of the Ampero 2 Stomp so you can get to know it a little better. To the far left, we have our master volume knob. To the right of that, we have our touch display where you can select and edit any parameter inside of the Ampero 2 Stomp. To the right of that, we have the menu value knob, which is a rotary encoder, which performs very similarly in nature to the touchscreen, so you can select and edit any parameter. Below that, we have three knobs that can be assigned to a whole host of different destinations. We also have a lock button, which enables you to lock the Ampero and unlock it, so it's perfect for playing live gigs. And down below, we have three foot switches, which can be used to, on the top level, select any preset you want. You can also press it again, and that will bypass the Ampero. But they also have secondary functions. So if you press and hold the first foot switch, this will launch a chromatic tuner. Press it again, and that'll exit to the top level. The second foot switch, press and hold, and that will launch the looper. Press and hold it again, and that'll go out to the top level. Press and hold the third foot switch, and this will toggle between stomp mode and patch mode. And we'll explore what that means further down the road. But in addition to this, if you want to go up and down the different banks, just use the two foot switches in combination to toggle up and down the foot switches by values of 3. Now, if you want to map out the knobs and foot switches of the Ampero 2 Stomp, the place you're going to do is up here in the upper left corner with the control/expression dialog. And this is where you can go in and view everything that is mapped out currently. You can set up your foot switch settings, you can set up your quick access parameters, and you can also set up your expression pedal as well. So this would be where you would calibrate your expression pedal and set the range. Now the looper is really cool, so we can bring that up just by pressing on the looper button there in the screen. This is a 60-second phrase looper, meaning that you can't loop at home and then take it with you to the gig. It is meant to be used on the fly. But there are so many things you can do here. For example, you've got your half speed, you've got reverse, you can easily clear a loop. What you can also do though is you can set your record level, you can reset your loop level. You can also specify whether you want the looper to be pre-mode at the beginning of the signal chain or post-mode afterwards. You can have it go to whichever signal chain you want. So it can be on chain A or chain B, and that goes back to the signal chain. You've also got the ability to change the functionality of the three foot switches at the bottom, where you can specify what the first switch does, the second switch does, and the third switch does. So there's a lot of customization here as well. In order to access the global parameters, just hit the global parameters button on the touchscreen, and this will launch the global parameters window where you have 8 different global parameter settings to adjust. I'm going to zoom in the camera so we can take a real close-up look at each one of these. The I/O global settings are provided to enable you to select what kind of input mode you want for the left and the right channel, the type of output level you want, whether you're going to be in DSP bypass or true bypass, the different kind of output sources that you can select, as well as the effects send source. The USB audio global settings are used to set the recording level for all 8 inputs of the Ampero 2 Stomp, change the monitor level, change the output source of the Ampero 2 Stomp, and the effects send source. The controls enable you to change the unit mode, the bank select mode, the auto cab match mode, as well as what the expression input will do, whether it's going to just be simply an expression pedal or it's going to be multiple foot switches. Next up are the MIDI settings. Now, I'm going to kind of just glaze over this really quick because this is a really deep part of the product, because you can do so much with the MIDI in source, whether you're using MIDI in the actual MIDI jack or using USB, or you're mixing between the two, the different kinds of channels you can go to, your clock source, all of that. I'll cover that in a future video tutorial, but know that this is how you access those functionalities. Next up is the global EQ, and this applies an equalization curve to the output of the Ampero 2 Stomp. And like the MIDI functionality, this is also a pretty deep function of the product itself, because very quickly you can find yourself questioning what you're doing here or there and not quite sure how everything works. And what we'll do in a future video is cover this in depth. Down below we have the display global parameters, where you can set the display mode, you can set the language between English and Chinese, you can change the color if you want to of the display, and you can also set the display time so it'll turn off after a set amount of time. And finally, About and Factory Reset are pretty self-explanatory. About just gives you the ability to check the firmware and hardware version of the Ampero 2 Stomp, and then if you need to perform a factory reset, you can do that with the factory reset options. So I'm going to go ahead and press no, and I'm going to go back out to the top level. Now, without a doubt, the real magic of the Ampero 2 Stomp is the edit window. So let's go ahead and get in there. Now, from the edit window, I can do a whole bunch of different things. I can change the tempo of the preset. I can change the output, the volume of the output. I can change the signal path if I want to. I can edit any of the selected modules at any time. And if you've ever used any of those touchscreen modelers out there, the Ampero 2 Stomp functions exactly the same, where I can take any of these modules and I can click and drag them around and I can change the signal path order. So if for some bizarre reason you want to hear a cabinet go into an amp, you can do that. You can also change it back. If you want to get rid of anything, you can click and drag it into the delete section. If you want to add an effect, you can go to the signal block and add it from there, or you can press on the add button below. Once you select any of these modules, and there's 12 of them here to choose from, you can then go in and edit them. So you can edit the preset if you want to. You can go in and edit all of the different parameters if you'd like to. There's just so much that you can do. But what you can also do, and this is really one of the bonus features of the product, and I think one of the standout features really, is the signal path options. Because you have 5 of them to choose from here, including parallel, split mix, ABY, YAB, and serial. You can also set up your own user template if you want to. And this is just really where you can do a lot of amazing, powerful things. For example, you can be in parallel mode. If you're in parallel mode, you have 2 completely independent signal chains that you can create stereophonic effects if you want to. You could go into ABY, where you have 2 signal chains that are fed into a summed pair at the end. So much you can do here. Serial mode is what we were seeing before, where you're feeding the top row of effects and amps into the bottom row. And then once you're done, of course, you've got the save button there where you can save the template and you can save the patch. So we'll be definitely exploring this a lot, but honestly, that's been one of the best parts of the product for me. One of the other standout features of the Ampero 2 Stomp is the inclusion of the improved Ampero Editor. And this does essentially everything that I've already covered in previous parts of this video, where you can change the order of the effects, you can add effects, subtract effects, change the signal path. Essentially everything that I've done before can be done here. And you can also change, of course, the global settings and all of that. But it's a very deep editor and it does so very much. So I'll be dedicating a couple of videos in the future to covering this more in depth. Well, that concludes this introductory video to the Ampero 2 Stomp. If there are any topics that you'd like me to cover on this product, just use the comment section below and let me know, and I'll consider it. Have a good one. Well, thanks for stopping by. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any further questions, be sure to visit us at thepedalguide.com. But in the meantime, follow us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, and also be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel for weekly videos and tutorials. Thanks for stopping by here at thepedalguide.com, where I love pedals and so do you.